Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised. Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name's James McCarthy, and this is one of our Rest Stop episodes. It's for content that we thought was pretty good, but kind of ran long in a previous episode. So we cut it and posted it so we could share it with you, the passengers of the Omnibus. This section is going to be on Brandon Sanderson. This was cut from our Bus Chatter live action crossed with animation episode. And really what I'd like to highlight here in the beginning here is Brady, one of the fellow travelers, just his love for Brandon Sanderson's work. I think sometime in this quick spoiler, he's going to mention that he's probably his second favorite author next to Neil Gaiman. And one thing that I loved about this part, and just about in general when we get together, is learning about what we all kind of really get into as far as the hobby and the culture. And it was really interesting to kind of see not just Brady's love for Sanderson's work, but also Jody's interest in it as well, because that really is what kicked it off right here. And in fact, let's get into that now. Take it away, Jody, or was it Brady? I think it was Jody. It started with confusion, like it is now. Here we go.
I'm pointing at Brady.
Yes, ask him questions about a thing.
No. This is a different subject altogether. Yeah, let me ask you about this mystery thing that you have no idea.
Yeah, the mystery thing, I was trying to figure out what has 3 movies and 12-episode TV show, and the only thing that I could think of was How to Train Your Dragon? Don't tell me if I'm right.
No.
Don't tell me if I'm right.
No.
See, fucking spoiled it. I wanted to be right about it.
I was about to say there's way more stuff I've got to watch. But,
okay.
So I don't know if it's because I watch so many different videos on YouTube that so many different things come in my recommends. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And something came in about a writer, and it was a mini documentary about how this one writer, by putting out premium versions of his books, has basically revitalized a small printing company, because about 5 or so years ago, him and his group decided they wanted to release premiere leather-bound versions of his novels and his ongoing gigantic fucking omniverse of a series.
I think I know what I know what this is.
Yeah, it's Sanderson.
Sanderson,
Yeah, for a second I was like, are we just going to talk around everything?
Yeah.
And so here's a series, here's a book, here's an author.
And I was,
because he has he's recently started another thing with he's putting out more of those books.
Yeah, Knights of the Radiant something or another is one of the newer ones.
Do you think if we get Patrick Rothfuss to do that, he might finish something?
I don't know, but
he's gonna die before that third book comes out.
I watched the 20.
What will come out first? I apologize, but I need
fine.
to look him in the eyes. What comes out first? The Winds of Winter or Rothfuss's third book?
I'll be honest, I have no fucking idea, because they are both just kind of not doing anything anymore.
Okay, continue.
So I watched that documentary, and then I watched some more stuff about the Stormlight Archives.
Yeah,
just other people talking
which
about
is getting an RPG book.
Nice,
which I'm so excited about, because there's so much cool shit in that world.
One of the reviewers basically starts with what Jay always says when he talks about Dune.
Yeah,
and the first thing this guy said, don't read it. It's really good, but if you
Stormlight Archives,
if you start, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, go ahead. Take over.
Let me
over.
be the J right now.
Take over.
Okay,
for
The
it.
Stormlight Archives is probably my favorite thing that he's done, but it is also I'm trying not to be like an asshole with this, but it's super fucking high level, because okay, some of his books you can read and it's perfectly fine. But in each of his books, there's these little connections, because they all basically take place on their own worlds, but the worlds are connected by a few characters who can cross the worlds, but it's very hard to do. And there's little bitty hints in some of them. And in Stormlight Archive, there's a lot of fucking hints. It's all over. All of that comes into play really good. And it's it's going to end up being 10 books. There are 4 books now. The 5th book is coming out at the end of this year, and they're all 1,000 pages. It is so fucking dense. It is so good, but it is so fucking dense. So I always would tell people, like, if you're going to get into Sanderson, don't read the Stormlight Archives first. There are several other book series, or just he has some standalone novels that I'd be like, okay, try these out. You know.
Yeah, learn to like his style and then get into his super prose.
Yeah, I would say like Mistborn, the final Empire is probably a good one because it starts off as a trilogy, but you could just read that first book and be fine. You can read that and that's fine. If you go to the second book, you need to go to the third book, and then there's like a second series that takes place at a later time. If you start with those, it's kind of the same. You can start with the first one, but then but if you go further, you're going to want to read all the other three. It's actually, it's 4 books now in that series. But he does have standalone, like his first book, Elantris. If you like the court intrigue and you don't care as much about action, that's a good one to start with. Although it is a little bit rougher of a book because it is his first book. Yeah, he's got a tons of because the Stormlight Archive, it's 4 books right now. They're all at 1,000 pages, and then he has 2 novellas that take place in that same world that you have to read in certain orders, or it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I watched a chart breakdown where like the first book from the Stormlight Archives is like almost 1,000 pages, and like every book goes up 100 to 200 pages. So right now, like the last one's like 1,200 pages or something. And it's like if it keeps going, when it gets to book 10, it's going to be like the last book's going to be like 2,000 pages.
Oh,
see, that shit. And I apologize for shitting in the punch bowl here. That is so much to me like Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time, and that those books got so much fucking larger to the point I could not fucking read them. I stopped at the path of. I've made this joke so many times, I'm gonna make it again. I stopped at a path of daggers because reading it was literally like a path of daggers running across my flesh. Just go to the next spot. Move. The whole plot kind of like just stopped for me and around that book.
Yeah,
I don't ever.
The thing about these is I don't ever feel like I don't ever feel like the plot stops. Okay. I don't ever feel like he's just padding things out.
Right.
But there are they separate they're separated into sections, and like in between there's like interludes that take place from different character point of views, because you have like your main character point of views, and then in between there's little interludes that show you different other characters' point of views.
Right.
And to be honest, like starting out, some of those interludes like don't make any sense, but then they start making sense because those characters come back in later books. It's super fucking complicated, but it's really fucking good. And you're finding out like, okay, this character that you thought was dead from this other book, he's behind the scenes running all these little things. Like, it's so fucking complicated. And I at least believe Sanderson, he might die before Stormlight Archives happens, but like it's less likely because he has got it like down to such a science almost of I'm going to get these books.
Because he's putting out one of those a year, or is he putting out?
It's like every 2 years those happen, but then he has other projects,
other books happening
during 2020. Like he wrote like 4 or 5 books that he put on Kickstarter. Here's a mystery project. You might have saw this where here's 5 mystery projects. I don't want to go through Amazon anymore.
I thought you were about to say, here's 5 mystery projects. Give me money.
I mean, that's basically what he did, and people gave him a lot of fucking money.
Well, yeah, it's 2020, height of the pandemic. What else is anyone going to do?
The largest Kickstarters ever, and I think it's the largest book Kickstarter ever. He was like, I'm not going to go through Amazon. He worked with. He's working now with Audible to get better residuals for authors on there.
Yeah, because I've seen him like vocalize about how audiobooks there's an issue with that.
Yeah, he's doing a lot with that. But yeah, and I'm still behind on the secret projects because I think all of them have come out where you can buy them in stores. I've only read the first one, but the first one's really fucking good.
What's the first thing you would recommend for somebody who's not read any of Brandon Sanderson's stuff?
Probably Mistborn: The Final Empire, because like I said, you can read that one, and if it's not your jam, you can get it. But it has a very interesting magic system. The world is very interesting. It's a complete story in and of itself. and then if you like, you can finish out the trilogy of that, and it tells a really good story.
I think they based a board game off of that.
Yes.
I think I played it once, but it's
Call
been
to Adventure,
Yeah, and there's also
time.
a Mistborn RPG system. But yeah, and they're Brotherwise, the people who make Call to Adventure, but they also made they made it like a bigger board game too of that.
Okay.
Something like, because there's like noble houses, and you play one of the noble houses, and you're like doing shit.
I think that might have been the one I played. I don't remember.
But Call to Adventure is the Stormlight Archives. Actually, that's where
I
that
played.
is.
It literally said Mistborn on the box. So
I know what because I think Shmoo used to own
Shmoo
it.
had it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that big Kickstarter one that had like that big centerpiece to it?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
It's
I
been a
didn't
long
back
time.
it, so I
Okay.
don't. Even though I loved, like I just didn't back it.
Right.
Did
But,
AEG do it? Because I remember AEG being a part of that game.
I don't know, Ethan. Look up
Possibly.
Mistborn, the board game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mistborn, that's a good starting place. Like I said, if you like the intrigue more than you like in politics, and if you like that more than you like just straight up action, that's a good one. But there is like politics in kind of everything, because
Right.
he's really good at world building. He's not great at like just straight prose.
Yeah.
But I think his dialogue and his characters and his world building is like really good. A lot of people will give him shit because it's just kind of plain prose, but like I think it does the job. I don't need super flowery prose.
Yeah, I
all
watched
the
a
time.
lot of there's clips on YouTube of like just this lady like reading out what the different groups are in the Stormlight Archive,
Yeah.
like the Wind Dancers or whatever. I'm probably mispronouncing
Edge Dancers,
Wind
Windrunners.
Runners. That's
Because there's like 12 orders of like Night Radiance.
Right.
And they each have a different combination of powers.
right.
But then there's also like an evil version of all of it. And there's also other things. There's magical suits of armor and magical swords and shit like that.
What am I looking up with this game?
Just what it's called.
Mistborn House War.
House War, yeah.
Okay.
Because it's different, because you have different houses.
Lead and negotiate with great and noble houses. Highest or lowest score could win.
Yeah. I never played it, so I don't know exactly how it plays.
I don't remember.
He also did the it's called the Reckoners trilogy. It's kind of more of a young adults. If you want like kind of a sci-fi thing, that one's really good. It's basically this meteor comes out of nowhere and like, because it's there, like people start getting superpowers. So they start, if they have superpowers, they become evil.
Right.
So they call them epics, and like, so the first one's called Steelheart, and the like a kid witnesses like his dad gets killed by Steelheart, and he realizes that he saw like a weakness in him. And he joined, and later as he grows up, he joins with this group called the Reckoners, and they're trying to kill. In the first one, it's killing Steelheart, who is like a Superman level epic.
Right.
That one's really interesting if you like more of a sci-fi superhero type thing. But he does really good at like I said, world building, magic systems. He's really good at.
Yeah, I watched one more thing before we move on, because I know we've been talking about it for a minute. But one thing I saw, because like as a hobby, I'm also a writer. No, just a hobby, and just for structural ideas. Like I watched, there was a breakdown. Someone did different breakdowns, and they had him as an example of how he does world building.
Yeah.
And not that, you do one first over the other, but like, for his main character, he writes like a couple of paragraphs in this in the interest of what that main character is, sub characters, side plots, how to tie in all that stuff.
He teaches a class at Brigham Young. He's a Mormon. That's the only negative against him. And
how Pentecostal of you.
He actually fuck you.
I wanted to do a callback to a line I did last time.
And several of his lectures are actually on his YouTube channel.
I've seen one of them.
I haven't watched all of them.
I watched one of them.
I haven't watched them because they're long.
They are long.
But I have wanted to watch them because I like hearing him like talk about things. He's really like
he seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, he seems like a really cool dude. He's got like he has his own publishing company, and that's how he's been able to do that. He has his own convention, like it's called Dragonsteel Con, because his company is called Dragonsteel.
I believe it. I believe it, because like he looks like he's like past fantasy writers, he's in the forefront of being like one of the top fantasy writers of the past. Like, how long has he been doing it? 15 years, something like that.
When did Elantris come out? I can't remember.
Yeah, I just had this pulled up. Give me a second.
You asked the questions out of time.
2005.
Yeah, 2000.
Okay.
He's been doing this
So
years.
we're closing in on 20 for that.
20 years.
Nice.
Yeah, there was at one point, this was after A Dance with Dragons came out, I went and counted how many books that Brandon Sanderson has done in the 20 years, and then how many, the 20 years that Martin has been writing A Song of Ice and Fire, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Because I think he actually... No, Martin might have actually been. No, Martin was talking to Stephen King when he asked him how does he write so damn fast.
Right, and Stephen King said, "I'll write 8 pages a day, whether I want to or not."
Yeah.
And Martin's like, "How is that even possible?"
As he was eating a lobster.
Yeah,
But like he has like he works with like a lot of people he works with are his like family, but like he has like a team where he will be like giving him time to write, and then he like gives it to them for editing, and like they have a whole system.
They
down
have
where
a system
where
down.
he just writes and writes and writes.
Yeah, he's on pace to beat King as far as like output of stuff.
There's stuff of his, like there's a whole young adult series called Skyward that I've not read. Like, and he was the guy who was picked by Robert Jordan's family to finish the Wheel of Time series.
Oh shit, yeah.
Now I don't know how well he did because I'm not reading the entire Wheel of Time series.
Right.
But yeah, he did like the last. Was it last 2 or 3 books maybe?
I thought it was just the last book. But
I think
he did at least 2
But what I
books.
think ended up happening there is the intention. If Jordan had survived, it would have been 1 book at like about 2,500 pages.
Yeah.
But so what probably ended up happening there is they probably split that down into 2
I think
or 3
he did
books.
at least 2 the last 2 books. But yeah, I love Brandon Sanderson. He's one of my favorite authors. Like he's probably second under Neil Gaiman, but like yeah, he's great.
From what I'm seeing, he contributed to the last 3 books.
Okay.
Last
Okay.
3 books.
I thought
Right.
it was at least 2.
So question, which would you prefer? Brandon Sanderson's Sandman or Neil Gaiman's Stormlight Archives?
Probably Neil Gaiman's Stormlight. I don't know because like Neil Gaiman doesn't like write as it wouldn't be 1,000 pages, which doesn't particularly matter to me because the story is so interesting. But it's that both of those would actually be kind of interesting, but it's a different medium. He has done Sanderson has done like a comic called White Sand, which I haven't read. But both of those would be interesting, to be honest. It's hard to pick that one.
On a final note for this one,
Neil Gaiman wouldn't do 10, but he's like, fuck all that. I'm not doing 10 books.
as of 2023, within the fictional universe of Cosmere, which is his,
Yeah. So each of them are like their own stories, but it's you can read those and be fine. But then there's like an overarching connection with everything. That's the Cosmere.
there's 60
books.
There's 60 books.
Yeah. And I think some of those are like graphic novels.
Oh,
like
I'm
I said,
sure.
White Sand is a graphic novel that he's done.
That's still a lot.
Some of those are novellas.
Should we just get him to finish all of the series?
I
Like
mean,
have
he
him finish
probably
A Song
could.
of Ice
He
and Fire?
probably
he would have it tomorrow. Like
Follow-up question. William Gibson's Discworld or Terry Pratchett's Neuromancer?
I would like to see Terry Pratchett's
Okay.
Neuromancer.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ethan has no idea what we're talking
I don't want to
about.
know.
That's
all
why.
I don't want technical jargon in Discworld.
You
Yes, explain about the turtle.
You don't elaborate on the turtle at all? No?
Yeah, explain how when you die, whatever you believed in when you die is what you see.
Yeah.
And go into.
I don't want the metaphysics of the turtle on top of the elephants. I'm fine.
My brain is hurting.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the tumor.
Good.
That's how you know who is really a fantasy nerd. If you walk in there on a D&D night and you walk up to one of the older tables and you ask them, hey, who likes Discworld? There's going to be at least one guy and be like, that's an OG nerd right there.
Yeah. And you stay far the fuck away from them.
Yeah.
Anything else, Jody?
I heard someone mention the color of magic.
We almost went into wizards right there. That was strange.
We might end up with like a fucking rest stop just on Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah, we did. We did talk about him for a minute. That's all.
Yes, an entire rest stop, all in dedication to the one great Brandon Sanderson. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this and would like to get in touch with us, travelersontheomnibus@gmail.com. Again, that is travelers, 1L, on the omnibus @gmail.com. Also, you can post to our Spotify page with any answers to our Q&As or answers to our polls, which we give out at every single episode. Our thanks to McNarv Gaming in Goshen, Mississippi, for allowing us the studio space for which we record the podcast. And I think that's pretty much it. This bus is rolling into the station. My name is James McCarthy, and for Travelers on the Omnibus, thank you. Good morning, good evening, good night, goodbye.